Good morning. Okay, we are back for another fun interview. So, provided that this actually works, we're going to bring on Gaia, and she is going to be talking all about using your sexual power, using your sexual energy to actually invite in more money. We're gonna have a discussion about this. The sexual energy is something that I definitely talk about. Ooh, there she is. Okay, let's see if we can invite her in. So add to invite the join the says it's adding. Yes, love the hearts, love you guys. All right, is it gonna let you in? That's the question of the day. Oh my god, it fucking worked! Ah, shit. I
Okay, can
have
you
done
hear me
like
okay?
I can hear you great. I've like done this
Woo!
4 times and it fucking thing hasn't let me do this, hasn't let me add somebody. So I'm like, ha, hallelujah. Okay, we have a bunch of people on the line. Love it. You guys keep hitting the like and the love buttons. Love you all. And so just before we get started with a little more of the formal interview, hashtag replay if you're catching the replay, and do put in your questions, comments that you have for Gaia. And of course, Gaia is going to be at the Badass Revolution Night. Woo, woo, woo! Super excited. Where you get like the full juicy details on turning your passion into profits. I can't wait for this because like you and I are so aligned on this topic. I fucking love the sexual energy, right? But you kick it up a whole notch and actually bring in like the sexy sexual energy. Super sweet. Okay, so Gaia, I didn't even think about asking you for a bio. So do a quick introduction. Who are you? What's your
All right.
superpower?
So I'm Guy Morissette. I believe that the keys to a happy, healthy, wealthy, epic, magical, and orgasmic life is human embracing the human experience, sexual wellness, and letting go of fear, shame, guilt, and self-loathing. And I do this as a holistic sexual wellness specialist, a trauma recovery specialist, a high priestess of divine sexual magic, as well as guardian of elemental magics. And I make pleasure safe, I make sex better, and I help you take your lives to the next level. And I do this through speaking, training, and coaching.
Love it. Woohoo! That is super fun. Woo! Juicy, juicy, juicy. So, yeah, so I want to just kind of highlight for people a little bit about using, this magic energy, the sexual energy. Sorry, that was my agenda. We didn't even talk about what your agenda was. It's all about me, right? You know that.
Well, it's all good. It's
Comes
all
with the
good.
territory. I'm a
It,
little too used
it,
to.
it's your interview. You can have the agenda.
Aw, you're the best. You're the best. Guy knows I'm a control freak. I'm like, I'm here. I'm doing what I want to do. Okay, so for me, like I talk about sexual energy, I talk about, pulling that up, but I know that you take it further and you actually get people to get involved, to actually engage the sensualities, the sexual nature of things. So what's
I I would
what's the
love to
power?
talk about pleasure. Let's talk
Yes.
about pleasure
Okay.
because that's really like when you come when we have our talk next week and you're at this great event. We're going to dive into like pleasure and how pleasure leads to more profit in your life and how the different frequencies of pleasure creates different things that you want in your business life, and that's what we're going to like dive into. So I think today we could like give them a little bit of a teaser because of all
Okay,
the
that's a great
teasing.
idea. I love it. I love it. Take it away.
Okay, so often when I say pleasure, the first thing everybody tends to say to me is like, "So what? You want me to fuck more? You want me to have more sex?" It's the
Right
first
to the
place,
point.
right to the point, right?
Right to the point.
And the point is that well, that's always good, but no, that's not what I'm saying when I talk about pleasure, right?
Okay, so what are
Um,
we talking about?
Okay, so there's three levels of pleasure. There's three different types of pleasure. There's your sensory pleasure, your emotional pleasure, and then your orgasmic pleasure. And life is all filled with every moment, every day has all these different pleasure possibilities in our day. And we don't embrace them. We're afraid of them. We have blockages around them. We have issues around them. And so, it comes from different places: trauma, past relationships, societal norms. Like there's a whole bunch about, overall, we've all been taught that pleasure is bad and that we aren't worthy and we don't deserve to have it. And when we embrace that, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit.
Yes.
Once we embrace that, then all of a sudden it's like the key ingredients to being able to have happiness, to have your dream life, to manifest every possibility in your life, because you now believe that you're worthy of it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like reacting to the comments. You keep going. Yeah. Okay. I should make that clear. I'm reacting to the comments. You keep talking.
All right. Anybody have any questions about that?
Melanie says she has to leave for work, but she's loving this. Carrie, I know she's like right on board with this whole thing. I love Carrie. She's just so amazing. So yay, so glad you can join me, Carrie. Love you, love you. Yeah, like I love this piece of it where you're bringing up the fact that it's like we have made it almost, well, not almost, we've made it wrong to feel pleasure. And even Brene Brown, she mentions in a lot of her talks where it's like joy is this scary thing for people to embrace, and yet at the same time everybody's like, I want to have an easy life, I want to be happy, I want to be joyful, and yet it's like, well, you think you do, but it's actually, you actually don't. Oh yeah, it's super early for you, Carrie. She's in California. So
good morning. Thank you for waking up and coming and hanging out with us.
Absolutely. So I know that, like, I'm with you that people need to heal the deeper trauma, and that's really what's going to make the biggest difference in getting to this place where we can actually like welcome joy, welcome pleasure, welcome things coming in. But what do you give people to begin with? Like, where can they start today?
So where we need to start is with sensory. That's the easiest and the least scary of the pleasure possibilities is just sensory pleasure. Just dropping into the moment. So you're drinking, what are you drinking right now?
Coffee.
Okay. So let's actually use this. Let's have a pleasure moment together.
Oh,
Dana,
okay.
you want to have a pleasure moment with me?
Oh no. Don't make me do that.
Okay, so this is a great way, like first thing in the morning, everybody usually has their, beverage of choice, right? And it's like there's all these great possibilities of sensory pleasure in that one moment of the consumption of our morning beverage. So I have, a tea this morning, and you have a coffee. So let's start with like just feeling the warmth on our hands.
It's one of the best things. Like, I love that about my coffee. Juanita says she's wearing her fluffy robe, which is such a lovely sensory.
Yeah. So enjoy your fluffy robe, right? Just take a moment to enjoy the senses, right? So now smell whatever you happen to be consuming. I have blueberry jasmine tea that's beautiful.
And so for me, like what I'm imagining is like I breathe it in, and like I kind of like let the sensation of smell percolate through my body so that I can let that feeling go through the body a whole lot more.
Well, and there's two different kinds of smells possibilities. One's called like a little rabbit smell, where you're like, right? You're just kind of sniffing things. And it takes in a certain amount of information and data, for us, pleasure data, right? And then I like the other one, I call it drunken sailor smell, where it's like, where you're really not only just taking in the smell through your nose, but also through your mouth, so that you're tasting it as you're smelling it, which allows you to just absorb deeper into the experience.
Love it. I'm not sure I love the analogy of the drunken sailor, but I do get, because Because I tend to think like smelly, throwy uppy, that just doesn't really work for
Wait,
me in this
way
instance.
to
Just
ruin
saying.
the image for me. I've never had that image before, but way to ruin it for me,
No
Dana.
problem.
Thanks.
I'm there for you. I got you. I totally got your back. Okay, let's carry on.
All right. So now let's drink.
Okay.
All right. And I want you to like allow yourself to feel and taste the warmth, the temperature, the consistency, and all your taste buds to engage fully in it. Mm. And allow yourself the moment of moaning. Mm.
Yeah.
And we
You
just had a
taste
pleasure moment.
so much more. You taste so like it's like there's more senses engaged. And I always find it's like if you do this, especially with food, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but like when we do this with food, when I allow myself to do this, I don't have to eat as much because I feel like I've eaten more. I feel like I've like satiated when I really let myself feel all of it. Yeah. And Rodney has said, powerful stuff, ladies. Thank you for helping me kill time while I wait at the Social Security office. We're bringing some new sexy energy to the Social Security office. I love it. And Juanita was having a drunken sailor spelling her flowers yesterday, but she was sober.
Fantastic.
Okay, carry on. I know I've interrupted.
Okay. All right. So, as you can see, something that we already do every day can go from this place of like, it's just part of my routine to acknowledgement of how more pleasure can exist in your reality. It's not like you did something different. We just had a pleasure moment there. And that pleasure moment, what that did though, is there's all these biochemical releases that just happened in our bodies because we took the moment to acknowledge and have the pleasure, to drop into the pleasure. And then our brains and our bodies were like, oh, we're having pleasure. Let's release dopamine and oxytocin and all the good, happy chemicals in our bodies. And now we feel tingly. Now, that sensation is going to move in the rest of your day. How you move, how you interact with people, how you talk to people is going to be different, all because you took 30 seconds to enjoy your coffee, the thing that you already do every morning.
Yeah, I love it. It's like it's such an easy, tangible, and it's we even doing one sip of your morning drink, whatever it is you want to drink, one sip of it done in this intentional space of I want to feel the pleasure and being, yes, as Carrie says, being now in the receiving mode. That is it, because you are receiving all the yumminess of whatever it is that you're doing. Like you're really letting yourself have it fully.
Yeah.
I love this. Yes.
And even the fact that you're allowing yourself to have it fully, you're also reprogramming your brain that says you're not worthy of pleasure, you're not worthy of joy, you're not worthy of
Mm.
having the life that you want to have. Taking that moment says, no, actually, I am worthy of that. And every time we have and we step into that pleasure moment, we reprogram those old values, those old beliefs that don't serve us, which then opens up the doorway to everything else that you want to create. It's like you're saying, we're all like, I want to be happy, I want to be joyful, I want to have more money, I want to live my dream life, I want. And then you're like, when it starts to happen, you're like, sabotage, run away. Abort mission.
Shut it down, shut it down. Let's too much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And we don't understand that it's because those old programming are deeply rooted within us, and we can only change them if we're committed to changing them. And so little things like being more present, saying yes to the joy possibilities in our life, saying yes to the pleasure possibilities. And because the reason why pleasure is such a powerful tool to help with that reprogramming is because it actually, not only does it feel good, but it also releases new biochemical in your body, and it resets your body, your nervous system, your response, your neural pathways. So it's a great way to actually do reprogramming, and in an easier way than, say, sitting and doing a whole bunch of cognitive reprogramming. That's a much more difficult and not pleasurable, and in some ways it's a lot more cathartic, drama-based experience, which is okay.
Which is okay, but sometimes when you're retelling the story too in those cognitive-based therapies, you are actually locking in the trauma. So you're not moving enough of it. So this I love this. And that when you're into that dopamine, that feeling, the love state, love is one of the most powerful states to get into to create radical change. Like there's a great book. I don't know if you've ever read The Brain That Changes Itself.
No, I haven't read that book.
You would probably love that book if you love the neuroscience and stuff. It's like, it's really good because he talks about that, you know, how the neuroplasticity of the brain increases when we're in love. And I see that what you're doing, what you're encouraging people to do is dropping into that. So it's kind of like a life hack. You heard it here first, life hack to improve your ability to change.
So what's the book called again?
The Brain That Changes Itself. So good. Oh my God. Like, yeah, so good.
Okay.
Yeah. You definitely want to read that.
So that's basically in a nutshell of like, that's what sensory pleasure is. So I just want to quickly talk about what emotional pleasure is.
Oh, cool.
So emotional pleasure is when we feel really happy and we're really excited and something like amazing happens, right? So say you call a radio show and you win a trip to the Caribbean. In that moment, the feelings that your body's releasing of like, yahoo, I did it, right? All of those emotions that are happening is, again, releasing those biochemical responses in your body, and it's making your body feel tingly and juicy and happy and delightful, right? And that's happening because of an emotion or a thought. So when we understand that we can have emotional pleasure, which then can turn into physical pleasure, which then we can drop into our bodies and have sensory pleasure, then we get to have orgasmic pleasure.
Woo! Woo! The next level. Ooh. And Ivana has just joined us, so I just was waving hello to her. So, yay! Yeah. Okay. So let's go into orgasmic pleasure. Ooh.
So orgasmic pleasure is built off of the sensory and emotional pleasure. You can't have no pleasure in your day-to-day life and then drop into orgasmic pleasure. This is why most people are not orgasmic or struggle to be orgasmic, or it's very difficult for them to have orgasms, is because they're trying to go from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds, and it doesn't work that way. We as human beings need foreplay, and you could be in your whole day, your whole life can be one giant foreplay waiting for those moments in which you allow yourself to have orgasmic pleasure.
Yeah.
So I love it. So that's basically what orgasmic pleasure is just a accumulation of sensory pleasure, emotional pleasure, and releasing and letting go of any expectations of what that's supposed to look like. And if you have enough of it, your body responds in orgasmic release. And that orgasmic release can happen in many different forms. It's not just genital orgasmic release. You can have a kneegasm, a toegasm, a nosegasm, an elbowgasm, like you can have, your whole body can be one giant orgasm. You can have a thoughtgasm. You can have, being out in nature and being in the ocean and the ocean and the warmth of the skin on your skin. And next thing you know, you're having an orgasm without touching yourself. These are what it means to have, you want to take your life up to that next level of orgasmic life. That's what it looks like. That's what my life looks like.
I love it. I love it. This is really resonating with people. So we've got people making the connection finally. It's like, oh wow, Carrie's like just made that connection, that piece of sensory pleasure plus emotional pleasure equals orgasmic pleasure, and a sneezing gasm. Anita says, I
Sneezing-gasm.
love that.
Yes, you can
Right.
totally have a sneezing-gasm and
Yeah,
a
you know what? You go.
laugh-gasm.
Laughgasm. I love the expression of living an orgasmic life, in that it's breathing that orgasm into your day-to-day experience and having that, full body sensory experience in all that you do. And it's not just about a genital orgasm. That is not the only piece. That's one little slice of the way that you can experience deep pleasure in your life, in your body, in your business, and all of it. It is so, and I mean, as a teaser, I know you're going to go into this way more in your talk at the Badass Revolution. So see me for tickets. This piece of like how we pull that in and infuse our businesses with that orgasmic energy. Because then we're
All
like
right.
slightly attractive to everyone, massively.
So the first thing is that, yeah, the first thing is that when you're living orgasmically and you're in that space, everybody's drawn to you. Everybody's attracted to you. Everybody wants to be in your space with you. So from a client and from a customer perspective, that in itself is your marketing strategy of just showing up and being you and being in your orgasmic place of life is amazing and I'm amazing and everything can be amazing and who wants to be amazing with me, right? And people are like, I want to be amazing. I want to be amazing. I want to spend time with you. I can't wait to spend time with you because you're just so wonderful. Well, the reason that there's this frequency around me that I'm so wonderful is because I'm radiating this pleasure, joyful, blissful space.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that draws people in. So that in itself is a game changer. I mean,
Absolutely.
we want to be around people who are happy.
Yes.
It's like we talked about earlier. We're all seeking happiness. We may not know how to get there. We may have some shit that we need to work on first before we can achieve it. But we're all created in this way that we're like, how do I get happiness? How do I want it? I want it. I want it. I want it. How do I find it? So when you meet people who are happy, automatically you just are drawn to them. You're like, ooh, they have it. They must know
How
how
do
to
I
get
get
it.
it?
How
Yeah.
do I get it? How do I get it? Right? So that in itself just attracts people.
Yeah.
Then there's deeper things, but you gotta wait till my talk. I can't give it all away. Can't give it all away. Can't give all my secrets away yet.
No, we gotta save some for the talk. I just wanted a teaser. I wasn't even meaning for you to go that far into it even. So people are loving this. So Ivana says, love your energy and enthusiasm, infectious love. You are modeling it. So yay. Carrie, thank you so much for this conversation. Perfect timing for me. In the past, I've tried to deprive myself to abundance. Leaning into it this way of living has been miraculous. Absolutely. I am so with you. Like, it does not work. If I'm not in this zone of play and fun, and so for me, it shows up as play. You are, right into the sensuality and sexuality, and I love that about you. For me, it shows up much more as play, but it is still that sexual energy. I'm like, I'm just having fun with everything that life is, and it's magnetic. And I know when I'm on, because I'll have things like, so yesterday I'm in the line. I'm a bit of an addict for my coffee. So it was a few McDonald's plugs. So I'm in the line. I pull up in the drive-through. There's nobody there. Nobody there. And by the time I finish ordering my coffee, the line is 10 deep behind me. And then this morning, I'm on the treadmill. I get there. I'm like first. I'm waiting for my friend to come and join me. And swear to God, every treadmill beside me gets all taken up. And there's no one like in all the other treadmills. There's like another 30 of them over the other side. No. They want to be like near me, And that's the thing. It's like when you start seeing that happen, you start seeing people like everybody always has to park beside my car. Everybody like they just always have to be close to me because there's that energy. It's infectious, it's contagious. And people are like, yeah, I want that. Even though I don't know what that is or how to get that, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and it's easy. See, this is the
Yeah.
thing, is that we have two choices. Life can be easy and joyful and blissful and pleasurable, or life can be filled with struggle and strife and drama and crisis, and we have a choice of how we create that and how we manifest that. And
Mm-hmm.
based on who we are and how we choose to interact with everything makes the difference. And it makes the difference for what our world's going to look like and our day's going to look like, and who we attract to our lives, and what kind of people are drawn to us, and who do we say yes to, and all those things are based on that principle that we have a choice. So I want to share a little bit of a story about that every morning I wake up, and I wake up and I'm going to set my intention. So I wake up, I do my meditation before I get out of bed. And then just before I finish my meditation, I say, universe of love and light, I say yes to all magical and pleasure possibilities today. And then I get out of bed, because now I'm like this pleasure seeking adventure girl, right? Like that's my role today. That's the intention that I've set. And so I
Yeah.
spend all day long seeing like, oh, how can I have more pleasure today? Oh, what am I doing right now? I'm not in the pleasure mode. Okay, how can I find pleasure in whatever's happening in this moment, right? Do I need to do some Kegels? Oh, I can do some Kegels. I'm writing this article that I'm not having fun doing. And so yeah, I'm like, okay, let's do some Kegels. Let's do some rapid breathing. Oh, pleasure. Okay, la 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 la. Now I'm in creative energy, right? And so it's about that choice that we make all the time. We can be in the misery, we can be in the suffering, but then it also draws more of that to us. Or we can choose, and there's lots of different tools and skills to learning how to make those choices, right? To do that that shifting. But when we choose that we're going to shift, that's the world, that's the game changer. Now
Absolutely.
now we are no longer victims to society. We're no longer a victim to life. We're no longer victim to circumstances. We are now
Mm-hmm.
empowered to be who we want to be and who we choose to be. And no matter what circumstances, there's always pleasure to be had. And often people, when I say that, they're like, that's bullshit, Gaia.
Oh yeah, I love those people. You don't know my life. This is hell. I have it so hard. It's like, yeah.
Okay, which is great. And I always say to them, well, pleasure's also to be had in the fact that there's teachable moments in this moment, that even in the uncomfortableness, and even in it may not be feeling tingly and orgasmic in this moment, but the fact that something is presenting itself for you to be able to grow and move through it, so that you
Oh, you're cutting in and out on me. Okay. Christine, the presentation is happening on Wednesday, February 20th, if you're available. Lori, if you're still on, can you pop a link into the comments for me? That would be awesome. And hopefully Gaia will be back online here shortly. What's happening? Oh, no, not back. Okay. So, technology being what technology is, we are going to event and catch the rest of this amazing presentation. So, yeah. Oh, I thought I saw it over there. Okay. Yeah, I'm here to show the link. Yes, if you can pop the link in for the Badass Revolution night, that would be fantastic. You can also do a search if you're on Facebook, the Badass Revolution night, and that'll come up. That's on my business page in the events. I would love to have you there, Christine. I think you would so love it. Okay. All right, guys. I am gonna wrap it up there, and love you all. This has been so much fun. Come out to the February 20th event, and we will see you there. Okay, bye.